harping in Fanuk, an image, a voice from that time, which was
Mary O'Hara.
Sleep, oh babe, for the rain becomes the silent twilight's gone.
Stand the G's, don't look anywhere yet. Here we go, and now here we go. Oh, A's, A, G, F, E, D, back, and then stop. Okay, so that's half the job done. What do you think? It's quite a nice piece, isn't it? Will this be ready for us to perform tomorrow, do you think?
We pay our respects to the harpers whose music once resounded through North Kerry. We came together to remember the vibrant harp school that once flourished at Ratu through this very special performance by Janet Harbison and the Cornelius Lyons Inaugural Harp Summer School. So I was asked to give a very quick journey through time exploring the fascinating history of harping at Ratu and the lives of renowned harpers, and those we're mentioning are Nicholas Dowell Pearce and Cornelius Lyons. There was a monastic life at Ratu back in the 6th century. Ratu became the site of a significant monastic community which we think was founded by Bishop Lugach. This was a site of both religious community and also of education, which flourished there for centuries and eventually evolved into an Augustinian abbey by the 13th century. However, by the 16th century, the winds of political and religious change were sweeping through Ireland, particularly through the dissolution of the monasteries by Henry VIII. And at the abbey at Ratu, it became suppressed. The spiritual heart, obviously, then of the area faded, and the land eventually then passed into the hands, so you can see it fading, into the hands of the Pearce family, a branch of the influential Fitzmaurice's Earls of Kerry. While the monastic tradition at Ratu had faded, its site's cultural significance persisted. The land, through the support of Anglo-Irish landowners, became sympathetic to Irish culture and became a haven for the continued development of the traditional Irish arts, particularly that of harping. And by the 18th century, Ratu evolved into an informal hub for musicians, a gathering place for harpers and students to preserve and pass on the ancient art of wire-strung harping, which was at risk then of being lost. Nicholas Dowell Pearce was a blind harpist of Ratu, you'll hear him being referred to as such, one of the legendary figures, and he was born in 1561. But he lived through very turbulent times, if you've ever heard. They were hanging harpers at that stage, but we're lucky he got through it fairly well. So Pearce is renowned not only for his virtuosity, but also for his ability to compose poignant laments, which was seen as really as the hallmark of his musical genius. And his legacy includes the creation of 3 odes that were written in his honour, reflecting his stature as a musician. Pearce's connection to Ratu wasn't merely cultural, but was also tied to the land itself. I think we always think of harpists as being itinerant and moving, but that was at a later stage. So Nicholas Dowell Pearce actually held leasehold rights to lands in the areas of Ballykeedy and Corabally near Ratu. And you might ask why, because the harper had status in Irish society, and even the Anglo-Irish were recognising that at that stage. And so Pearce, one of the biggest landowners, gave over his daughter to Nicholas Dowell Pearce, was another branch of the family branch of it, to actually be married, and he gave over lands then to Nicholas, so he became quite wealthy in this marriage. So his status as a local landowner holder reinforced his position, so he had standing in the community, which provided financial stability but also enabled him to continue his musical career. So unfortunately his lands were confiscated in 1641 in the Irish Rebellion. And while his family petitioned, and they petitioned on the grounds that at the time that they were confiscated, Nicholas was actually 80 years of age, and there was no way he was after fighting in the Irish Rebellion. His son also had died, had passed, but hadn't, this was prior to the rebellion, and his grandson was actually only a toddler at the time, so there was no reason for him to have been involved in the rebellion. So the English held out, trying to create a case for keeping them, so not all of his lands were returned to him. Cornelius Lyons, so he's a master of the Irish harp in the 18th century, and he really captured the hearts of the Irish and also the Anglo-Irish elite. He was born in County Kerry. I do not have any more information than that, haven't figured it out. So Lyons became one of the most revered musicians really of his time. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Lyons was not blind. And actually he was one of the few harpers who could actually read music, a skill that actually helped him bridge from the old Gaelic harp tradition and also merge with the evolving Baroque styles of the period. So as we've heard from Janet last night, we know that Lyons and Turlough O'Carlin were friends, so they knew of each other and respected each other as harpists. So Lyons was known for his virtuosity and his ability to compose variations on popular airs, one of which we're going to hear sung in a while, which is Eileen O'Roon. But his most famous composition, which survives today, is Miss Hamilton, and the harp orchestra here is going to play that again for you a while. And when you're listening to it, you'll actually hear the influences of both the Gaelic tradition and the Baroque music. So Lyons' work was seen to bridge the old and the new, and that's what made him a key figure in the transition of the Irish harp from a folk instrument to one admired in high society. So the Ratu Harp School was seen as a beacon of cultural preservation, really. And musicians there were exposed to a rich variety of music, including bardic songs, planksties, laments and marches, many of which were passed down from earlier masters like Dowell and Lyons. The importance of the school lies not just in its musical output, but in its role as a cultural stronghold during a period of immense change. So if we fast forward in my timeline to today, like what's happening here, we're establishing the Cornelius Lyons Summer School at Tuckshins the Fenwick to honour the memory of not alone Cornelius Lyons, but the rich harping history of North Kerry. And by hosting workshops, performances and heritage talks, we're hoping that this school continues the work of the past harpers, ensuring that the art of the Irish harp is not just remembered, but will be actively practiced and celebrated in the 21st century. So without further ado, I hand you over to our master harper today, Janet Harp.
Lyons, Miss Hamilton, and it's a very beautiful piece. That actual theme is what was recorded by Bunting at the 1792 Harp Assembly, because that's the first time that the music was written down. Even though Cornelius Lyons composed it around about 1721, it wasn't until the 1790s that it was actually transcribed. And that's a theme which is a very unusual kind of characterful piece, but that really does mark the transition, as Susan was saying, between what was the old Gaelic style of playing, which were more sean-nusach, whereas the new style was very Italianate, because the patrons of the time were mostly of British origin. And even the Irish families, because of the business about, many of the Irish families having apostatized to become Anglo-Irish, many of them had been taken over during the 1600s to the UK, at the time it was Britain, of course, to be educated and anglicised. So many of the Irish families that still remained in Ireland and were also numbered among the patrons of the Harpers had become very Anglo-Irish in their culture, language, habits and musical tastes. This is one of the best loved and very old Irish pieces, and we know it's old because it's actually been mentioned in various annals and so on, which would put a real age on it. But it's not until the 18th century that we actually find it was transcribed.
I suppose, Janet, there are different versions of it.
Oh, there are
I
indeed.
learned this in the 50s.
Yeah.
In the school never.
Oh yes.
School.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I'll just give you. Are we good?
Or
I'll just give you
a G chord there.
Yeah. Ready? Just 2 big chords, and then we'll come in with the tune. Okay, and then a few more E chords. 2 E's, 2 D's, 2 E's, and then the quick change. Ready? 2 E chords just to start. Go. Sing again, and. Okay, here we go. D's. Quick change, E, and repeat. Good, second part. Sing again. Okay, first part again. Keep going. Good. Sing again. And big finish. One of the tunes that's associated with Cornelius Lyons is the idea of playing a piece with variations. And Dennis Henson in 1792 played the variations that were composed by Cornelius Lyons to Inaugural. So I thought I might give you a sense of that. century version of the same. Thanks, Cornelius. Thanks very much. Kino Harp, that's right. And it's by? Good job. Very good. The harp is up next to you.
First thing I looked at